Gross motor index point. Number 1, shoulder lock. Number 2, arm bar. Number 3, shoulder lock. Number 4, arm bar.
Cut. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Jiu-Jitsu Cop. I'm here with Tracy Ida from Survival Age Tactical. I just got done with a 4-day course going over civil disorder stuff. But one of the key things that I took that applies for this is we did some defensive tactics, which Tracy's going to go over right now.
So we're going to go over a quick 4-count flow drill that goes over a couple of shoulder locks and a couple of arm bars. We're going to start off with what we refer to as a gross motor index point. Usually when you're trying to attach onto somebody, it's easier to grab a whole limb as opposed to small digits, some small joint manipulation. So we're going gross motor index point, and then from here, I've got my upper hand just above his elbow, my lower hand down on his wrist, and I've got an upper and an over grip. So this way I can control him from right here. I can step into an arm bar right here and start controlling this joint right here by pulling back on the elbow and controlling the position of the elbow. But from this gross motor index point, or from GMI, we're going to transition right into a shoulder lock. And the way it's started is I'm going to get into the crook of his elbow with the palm right here as if I was to search his lower back. I'm then going to push this arm through and come all the way into this position. If you'll just turn around for us. You can see from right here, my elbow is controlling his wrist, and my hand here, which is located down on his elbow, is controlling the height of the elbow. So what we're trying to accomplish is this torquing motion here. So I'm pushing up on his wrist and down on his elbow to get that forward shoulder lock, to lock his shoulder in. So once that is sunk in, all I'm doing is raising up on my elbow and pushing down on my hand, and you can see him, Brian's already starting to bend over because he's feeling his shoulder lock in. We'll transition into the flow drill, which is going into number 2. I didn't properly get this in, and Brian spun on me a little bit sooner. I'm immediately just going to maneuver my arm all the way up and over, and I'm stepping kind of into him, and I'm putting my arm directly on his elbow. I'm controlling the height of his wrist and his elbow again with my arm, and now I'm locking his hand in so he can't slide out that direction with my head and my shoulder, and I'm literally just draping my whole arm over, and I'm squeezing in to create this arm bar position. So controlling the height of his wrist with my shoulder, creating the tension here on his elbow with just my arm, and now I'm pushing away on his head, and now I can pretty much do whatever I need to here. I can prone him all the way out to the floor if we were going to do that. Continuing with the flow, if I didn't get this locked in soon enough and he wanted to get away from that pain, you can see him already turning, so the arm's starting to curl back into this 90 degree. This arm just stays in this position right here. Now I start squeezing it because I felt it happening. There's his hand. I'm going to reach up and grab his hand by his wrist, grab my own wrist. Now the key to this one is trying to maintain this inside 90 position with his arm. If I allow his arm to come to 90 or even outside, he's probably just going to take my back, and then it's going to get really bad. So I'm going to do that fairly quickly, and I'm going to squeeze his hand down because I want his hand close to his ear. So you can see his arm is way inside 90 because I'm using 2 hands to his 1 hand. Then I would step through with my feet, so I'm hip to hip here, and now I'm going into another shoulder lock. So now I'm controlling this by pulling back on his elbow and pushing forward on his wrist, which is completing the shoulder lock. Now from here, from this position number 3, if for some reason I didn't get this in time and he felt it coming and he started to spin away from that pain, I would maintain that arm in this same position, and now I'm controlling the height of his wrist again, and now I'm putting downward pressure with my armpit down onto his elbow, which is creating another arm bar. So I'm pulling up on the wrist, pushing down on the elbow, which is lowering his posture, taking him off balance, and then from here, I would control that wrist and continue to the elbow, and again, I could display him all the way down to a prone position. So it's just a 4-count flow drill that goes from a shoulder lock to an arm bar, to another shoulder lock, to another arm bar, and it flows just in case we did something wrong. We weren't doing it quickly enough and didn't secure it soon enough. It gives us a defense to something that maybe our suspect's done to us. So that's the 4-count flow drill.
So what I want to say is Tracy is an amazing defensive tactics instructor. There's some other guys, Rick Carroll, Adam Leake, Jeff Perrin, all from Survival Age Tactical. If you ever have a chance to take one of the training courses, I highly recommend it. But going back to this, if you'll notice what Tracy did to me on each submission was that he broke my posture, whether it was forward or whether it was backwards. He had my posture controlled the entire time, which is a great way to escort me away from an area. All right, guys, train life, your life depends on it because one day it will.